Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I'm going to do a little short video for you this morning. I think you'll find interesting. And I want to focus on my hometown of Hobbs, New Mexico. And we're going to be talking about people in the attic. Anybody that's followed my story knows that I've documented homeowners all across the nation reporting people in the attic since I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going off in my attic. Okay, and that was back in 2012. Well, looking back, I believe that my home in Hobbs, New Mexico was rigged like this one here before I moved here, and I didn't know it. And really, actually, what happened after I shot, I started hearing rumors, or people, are saying, oh, he thought people were in his Hobbs home too. And I thought, what? I didn't think anybody was in the attic of my Hobbs home. And at that time, it didn't even, I didn't even suspect that. But now I'm looking back and I'm going, that it was going on. And I'm going to tell you that story in a minute. And then there's another woman over in Hobbs that contacted me, and she told me she was hearing people in her attic too. And so this video will be specifically about people in the attic in Hobbs, New Mexico. What I want to do is show you a map here first to kind of give you an idea of where I'm at, okay? And because here I am in Midland, Texas, which is right there 20 minutes from Odessa. So it's Hobbs, New Mexico is only about an hour and a half away. You can see it. It's a short drive over there. We're all on the same oil field. This is the Permian Basin oil field. As you can see there, Lubbock is due north there, a couple hours drive. Abilene's over there, back east, and San Angelo's down here. And you don't have to go too far. And here's Mexico. The ex-wife's late father's river house was down here on the border. And actually, you could be on the river and go in right from Mexico and go up his dock and then go up to his house. He had a trolley built his house. I got a movie on that. And drive all the way from here to Midland and never hit a check stop. And then here in Midland, of course, is I-20. So if you were moving drugs or humans or whatever you're doing with Mexico, it's the perfect place to smuggle. There ain't no doubt. Like I said, that he had a dock there built where you could just drive up the dock, take a dolly up to the top, load up the truck, drive to Midland. 3 hours, you're back in Midland. Juarez is over here. It's a little further away. That's where El Paso is. If you go further east, Fort Worth, Dallas, about 4 hours away here. Remember, this is where Fort Worth is where one of the places that the previous homeowner, Michael Ahan, was said to have died. Actually, I believe he was murdered in Midland and taken to Fort Worth to his mom's house. Okay, and then up north is Amarillo, and that's where my son Josh lives. And we're going to talk a little bit about him. And even further up there is, of course, Oklahoma City. So it just gives you an idea where I'm at. Okay, I want to show you here. This is a spreadsheet I've got of the homes where I've documented people, contacting me and been reporting people in the attic. A lot of these are scanner calls. We're going to listen to about a minute of scanner police calls to let you know that this is just going on all over the place. Because when this first happened, when I first reported somebody in my attic, what happened is they, oh, he's crazy. He thinks people in the attic. And then, and that's the modus operandi for covering up these crimes, because the press isn't telling the public that these crimes are going on all over the country. There's a dozen addresses in Midland, another dozen in Odessa, and there's not a peep out of our news stations, and they know it. And I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going off in my attic. But it's also, like I said, from California to Alabama. There was a woman in Alabama. She gets up in her attic and she makes videos to show me that this man-sized crawl space down her wall. And I believe that's how most of these homes are rigged. They're coming underneath the home with the tunnel. They come up a modified wall, and so somebody can come and leave the house without being seen, up a wall literally into the attic. Of course, when you're gone, they have the whole house to themselves, and so probably them tunnels originate at the next door's neighbor's house. That's the closest path for the tunnel, and I've done a lot of videos on that before. And so just I've documented all these homes in Odessa, of course, even in Carlsbad, New Mexico, a couple of that's about 70 miles from Hobbs too, and just homes all over the place. Okay, and we'll listen to this. I played this many times, and this one right here, when I
as woman is facing charges after police say she burned down her home to get rid of someone who she claimed was in the attic.
300 Hickory. The complainant saying she can hear someone up in the attic. Smells cigarette smoke. She took her family. They're going to be waiting out front.
31 616 Geneva. Caller stating that he heard someone in the attic.
610 Jeter. Complaint is going to be a 7-year-old male stating he can hear yelling and fighting. His mother's in the attic. He can hear her being assaulted. Advising that she thinks there's people inside of her residence in the attic. Address on Springdale. You know, it was reported that he heard voices in the attic. Check residence and voice in on the they were identified as fighting in the attic. 2403, 2427, have a check off there, 2903 Chelsea Place. Place. The complaints request to check over on her daughter, Jennifer. The daughter keeps sending her messages and saying that there's someone in her attic.
And you know, interestingly, I sent the city of Midland a information request asking for a list of all homeowners that reported something in the attic, and they said nobody had. And I've got all them calls recorded from the police scanner. I called and reported people in my attic. This is going on all over the place. And like I said, the police and the press is hiding this. It's widespread racketeering. I believe that this is the tip of the iceberg, and there's probably thousands of these rigs homes across America. It should be national headline news story. This video, of course, we're only talking about Hobbs, New Mexico, my hometown, okay, and people in the attic there. And as I said earlier, you know, now I believe that that home in Hobbs was rigged, but I didn't realize that till after the fact. Let me read this. I just posted this on my Facebook yesterday, and this will explain a little bit more. And I titled it, Ann and Don Callaway built my Hobbs home. Ann and Don Callaway were my first in-laws. They were Tammy's parents, and they're my son's grandparents, okay? And their family used to own a furniture and a lumber yard, had a lot of money over in Hobbs, okay? And they built homes over there. Okay. On December 7th, 2011, just 52 days before I survived a home invasion and premeditated murder attempt, my mom died in Hobbs, New Mexico, with still unanswered questions. I have a video on that. Okay, the month before I was hunted like an animal and shot and left for dead in my home, and now we know secret police were involved. On January 5th, 2012, just 23 days before I survived a home invasion, premeditated murder attempt, Don Callaway, my first father-in-law and builder of my Hobbs home, died in Amarillo. On January 28, 2012, my phone lines were cut and I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with burglar alarms going off in my attic. I've been reporting people in the attic for a year, and these crimes have never stopped. I posted a video this week of a motion light going on in my attic. You know, it's been going on for just forever. And in 2015, my dad, okay, because my mom died, marries Ann Callaway because Don Callaway died. Okay, he quits talking to me for no given reason and then dies in 2017. Okay, and so I'm just going. I want to see the timeline on that, especially my mom dying with these unanswered questions. And it's like bam, bam, bam. Mom dies, Don dies, and then they tried to murder me. Somebody did, and then my dad marries Ann Callaway. They quit talking to me like they know something. Of course, they know something. I've now identified almost 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic, with a dozen addresses in Midland, another dozen in Odessa. These crimes are going on all over the country. In 2002, my daughter noticed a light was on in the attic of my Hobbs home when I hadn't been up there. I assumed it was my late ex-wife, Cindy, that had sneaked into my home, but she said that she hadn't. This has led me to believe that my Hobbs home was rigged with hidden underground access like this home in Midland and the many others across the country. And that was in 2018 when Cindy said, you know, I wasn't in your freaking attic. I got a video on that. And then Cindy went to the hospital and died. That's another person I wonder if she wasn't murdered, because I think Cindy knew about this crime ring. That home was built by Ann and Don Callaway, the one I lived in Hobbs, who are my first in-laws. It's Tammy's parents, that's my first wife, and my son Josh's grandparents. They also built the home to the south of it. I'm going to show you a picture of it, where they used to live. I suspect there's a tunnel going between the two homes that they built, both of them. Violet Colvin, people in Hobbs will probably know her, later lived in that home, so she may know something about the crimes and murders too. She was me and Cindy's next door neighbor. Okay, she was married to Todd, and Todd died. Okay. Tammy's late husband, Mike Burns, was the realtor that found me that home in Hobbs, New Mexico. When I come back from Orla, transferred back into town from Orla, Mike was my realtor, and it was because of Mike, who is like married to Tammy, right? And her parents built that home. That's who found me that home. That's how I got into the Hobbs home that I now believe was rigged. It looks like that I've had these crimes committed against me for the last 30 years, and my family knew about it, which explains why they turned their back on me after I survived the murder attempt. Okay, the ex-wife here told me one time, she says, "You were chosen to buy this home," and and so which means that the crime started before I moved here. And I think maybe the reason I was chosen is because the home I lived in Hobbs was rigged too. Okay. And then another home over there, Heather O'Donnell told me that she was hearing things in her attic at 2606 East Sunset Circle in Hobbs, New Mexico. And I believe those townhomes were built by the Callaway family too. She also told me that her boyfriend, Donnie Cobb, told her that him and another guy shot somebody in Midland. I wonder if they were the ones that had shot me from under my home. Okay. I created this meme yesterday, okay? And what I did was I was showing you the timeline. Here's my mom. She dies on December 7th, 2011, okay? Still unanswered questions. There's a whole story about that. And it wasn't, the next month, less than a month later, my father-in-law dies, and he was a builder of my Hobbs home, Don Callaway. He dies up in Amarillo. Of course, he used to live in Hobbs, okay? Keep that in mind. And that's where the Callaway family is in Hobbs. And then here, just 23 days later, I'm hunted like an animal and shot and left for dead. They cut my phone lines. I've said this many times. The person that shot me was in no danger. I didn't even know they were there. That shows they came to my home to kill me. That's all there is to it. They could have left without even being seen. They came here to kill me. This was premeditated, capital attempted murder. They cut my phone lines and shot me from point blank range directly in an artery. The absolute proof shows I wasn't shot with my gun. Multiple people documented saying tunnels, underground homes are here. There ain't no doubt. It's not a what if, could be. This was premeditated, cold-blooded murder. God save my life. But then you turn around, and a couple years later, my dad marries Ann Callaway, and that Ann Callaway, the builder of my Hobbs home, and Dad quits talking to me for the last 3 years of his life. And it pretty much my entire family, most of my family. I haven't talked to my son in I don't know how long. Why? Because, he didn't give me a reason, but I got a feeling he knows that home in Hobbs was rigged. And I think, I got a feeling the people in my family know who tried to murder me. And if that's the case, they knew this when I was at the hospital while they were trying to cut off my leg, I was being intentionally crippled for life, while I was being hunted in my home, or terrorized day after day after day, year after year after year. They've known all along. I really sincerely believe that. On January 28, 2012, I was ambushed and shot somebody under my home. I copied and pasted that down. And this is just a video from a security camera when I crawled out. And what I did was overlay the 911 call a few minutes later from the 7-Eleven. And I'll let you listen to this here.
Number 911.
See, and so anyway, just to let you know, that was on from the night that I was hunted like an animal and shot and left for dead in my home. God saved my life. It's a miracle that I'm alive. I've now identified almost 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic with a dozen addresses in Midland, Odessa, which I showed you already. And I have a video called History of People in the Attic. And there's more information in there. It shows where I put like a Vivint alarm system in my attic, dispatched police to my house, and how I proved that I put cameras in my attic, proved that they were hacked. There's a whole bunch more information that goes with this. As I said, I saw a young Hispanic guy. It's not a what if, could be, oh, it's a mouse, it's a squirrel. No, these are people. I think it's illegal, probably illegal immigration, human trafficking, sex trafficking, etc. Okay. And then here, the story I told earlier, in 2002, my daughter noticed a light on in the attic, my Hobbs home, but I hadn't been up there. And I was showing a picture here. This is a picture of the Hobbs home. So the Callaways built this home, and they built the one over here that they used to live in, okay? So they built these two homes right here. And what I was showing, this was my living room. It was Christmas in 2002. Me and the girls my daughters, we painted this room. Okay, so we're up on a ladder and all that, for 2-3 days during the Christmas holiday. The following week, when they come back down for visitation, Jordan's in here, my youngest daughter, and she says, Dad, there's a light on in the attic. There's a crack up here, and you could see the light coming through right there, that when it's dark and it was light up there, you could see there was light on the attic. Well, I hadn't been in the attic, and I knew that light wasn't on the week before because I had just painted this room. I was up there on a ladder for hours, painting that room. And so I was positive somebody had got into the attic of my Hobbs home, but I thought it was Cindy. Because I was going through a divorce with another ex-wife, Cindy Barton. But then in 2018, we're online, and I said, I know you were in my house. Were you in the attic? And she writes back and says, I wasn't in your freaking attic. And, and I'm thinking, well, if she wasn't in my freaking attic, somebody else was in my freaking attic, and that means that home's rigged like all these other homes. And, and who built that home? My in-laws, the ones that no longer talk to me. And then I'm looking back. Mom died. Don died. Dad marries Ann. It's just very bizarre what's going on, I said, that home was built by Ann and Don Callaway, who are my first in-laws, Tammy's parents, Josh's grandparents. Okay. I already said that. This is already read about Mike Burns was Tammy's late husband. That's my first ex-wife's. That's who found me that home. That's how come I got into that home in Hobbs in the first place, because of the Callaways, okay? And so I want to show you here the aerial view of this home to show you here 7611 Rolling Meadows in Hobbs, New Mexico. And I lived there for 16 years, come back from Orla. We moved there in 92, and then I'm transferred to Midland in 2008. And then the home next door to it is the one that where the Callaways used to live. I used to pick up Josh here, but they wasn't living here when I moved into this home. But I remember coming out here and picking up Josh there. They built both them homes, okay? And as I said earlier, Violet Colvin and Todd used to live here. Todd later died too. And so I'm suspecting there might have been a tunnel going between these two homes, and that home was rigged and people were getting in the attic. I just didn't realize it, And it's not just, that home, it's many homes all over the place, okay? And then I was telling you there's another home in Hobbs where a woman told me there's somebody in the attic. Heather O'Donnell told me that she was hearing things in the attic at 2606 East Sunset Circle. And I believe these townhomes were built by the Callaway family too. She told me her boyfriend, Donnie Cobb, told her that him and another guy shot somebody in Midland. I wondered if they were the ones that had shot me. Okay, and I'm going to show you some print screens. Here's a picture of Heather, okay? And she says, I've been hearing things in my attic. So then, that started the conversation, I'm telling her, like I told many people, I said, like, this is going on all over the place. And I started explaining it. She gives me the address. Anything happens to me, I live at 2606 East Sunset Circle. And she's concerned for her life, right? And should be, rightfully so. These are dangerous, violent criminals protected by some of the most corrupt police in the history of America. I mean, that's all there is to it. That secret police gang is there's almost no comparison to how dirty they are, And then she's talking about her boyfriend, Donnie Cobb, said he tried to kill me with drugs. His name's Donnie Cobb, And she goes on, she says, I think this is a sex trafficking ring. Well, I think it's a sex trafficking ring too. And she says, when Donnie was drunk, he and his friend shot a guy. And I said, in Hobbs? And she says, no, in Midland. Okay, and so, but I never found out who his friend is or who Donnie Cobb shot. But I thought I'd just share that with you. People in the attic, Hobbs, New Mexico.